I wonder if we're getting to the point where, with the way that these teams are spending at the top 4 of the Premier League, that if the top 5 teams in Europe, 3 or 4 of them might be in the Premier League because of how much money they're spending and how good these squads are.
Okay, I said this the other day. It's that time of year. It is list time, my friend. So here, this is an arbitrary list. This is who's going to get relegated, who is the top 4, and we know in the known Champions League spots. Let's start with the relegation list. Who's going down? We've seen the last 2 years, all 6 that have come up have gone right back down. Is it the same?
Yeah, so we're going from rock bottom to 18th here. So I'll start with Burnley. It's a difficult year for me to pick who's going to finish rock bottom. And you feel bad for Burnley because they're very much the yo-yo team right now. But I don't know, based off the transfer business that they've done, Scott Parker does not have a great record of taking teams up to the Premier League and kind of what he does once there, both with Fulham and with Bournemouth. And so, I don't know, I'm not convinced that you look at the transfer business that they had done so far, it's keeping a lot of the players that were there in the championship. And while they were a very good championship team and obviously incredible defensively, I just don't see them replicating that level of defensive solidity against better opposition week in, week out. So I think that Burnley will be the first team that will go down in my view.
Okay, you did Sunderland there at 19. Why?
Yeah, well, let's just say, first of all, Sunderland, I think, had the most difficult job because Burnley and Leeds were really good all season long. Sunderland had good periods, down periods, good periods, down periods. I think there were moments where I don't know if they were ready to go up. But now that they're there, the money that they've spent has been incredibly impressive. Enzo Lefebvre came in the middle of the season and really provided something different for them in midfield. That loan from Roma becomes permanent, playing with his old manager, Reggie Lebris. The transfer business that they've done, they basically bought an entirely new midfield with the money that they get from the Joe Bellingham sale. So I think they've really gone for it. And you look at the signings that they've made, I'm impressed with the business that they've done. But again, you're talking about the margins of finishing 20th versus 19th. I think at times you want to give one team that's come up maybe the home field advantage credit. I imagine the atmosphere at the Stadium of Light early in the season is going to be there. The question is, can Sunderland convert that into victories? I don't think it'll be enough in the end. I think they'll go down. Okay, you have Wolves at 18, and I alluded to this earlier in their block. Not because of your pick necessarily, but they are the 4th favorite by Vegas to go down. Leeds, they think, is a slightly more of a favorite to yo-yo back down to the championship. You have Leeds staying in as the championship title holders from last year. Wolves going down. Why? Well, you look at how they stayed up last season. They got off to a pretty poor start under Gary O'Neill. They let him go. They bring in Vitor Pereira, and it takes them a second, but it's basically this one period in the spring where they won 6 games in a row, and obviously that's incredibly impressive for a Premier League team, but I think you take that, you lose Mateus Cunha, you lose Ryan Aït-Nouri, and for the moment, I don't think that they have brought in enough. They bring in John Arias from Fluminense, which is a very interesting signing. Fer Lopez from Celta Vigo and Jorgen Strand Larsen they convert on a permanent deal. But there's something for me about Wolves managers where sometimes they run the cycle and they got to go find a new one, and then that new manager runs the cycle and they got to go find a new one. I'm not certain they're building from strength to strength right now. So I was looking for which is the team that's most likely, and beyond the 3 newly promoted teams. I think Leeds is going to stay up. I think not only do they have the team coming up that could succeed, but they've also bought incredibly well. They bought 4 or 5 ready-made, prime-made starters to add to this team. So who are the 2 candidates? It's Brentford and it's Wolves. And I just believe a little bit more in Brentford's overall model as a football club, what they will do reinvesting money than I do Wolves. So I'm picking them to finish 18th and go down. Yeah, both those teams have lost quite a bit, and obviously Brentford lost a coach as well. So on Thomas Frank going to Spurs. So I actually did that exercise earlier this week. I had the same team, so no argument for you. Top 4. We may have an issue here. Yes. Now, by the Vegas standards, the order is Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool to be the top 4, and a lot of times the odds in that order. Some books have switched Arsenal, Man City. Here is your 4 through 1. Take me through it. Why Chelsea 4? So Chelsea, I think, have taken the step forward to now where I consistently believe that they will be contending for Champions League. I really find interesting where that room within that top 4 is. I think their performance against PSG indicates that they can be better against some of the biggest teams. There is still a part of me, though, that thinks that there are elements of the team that are in flux. The goalkeeper being a big one. I think the 2 center backs are the other, where we've seen Chalobah, we've seen Levi Colwill, we've seen all these different players play at center back. I'm not certain they've got that right combination. Reece James, I think, has a big role to play in this team, and I just think that him playing 38 games of a Premier League season is not a thing you can rely upon. So yes, they have some incredible talent. Cole Palmer was brilliant. I think they signed incredibly well with Joao Pedro and Liam Delap. We'll see how they develop up front. They go for Xavi Simons. That only adds even more to their locker. I think their midfield is established now. Caicedo is brilliant. Enzo Fernandez getting into advanced positions, I think, has grown beyond my expectations for him. So I think Chelsea are a very good team, but there are just enough weaknesses in there that make me doubt that they're top 3 level. I think they have to go improve that this season.
That's where I think the issue is for them is that they just stopped their season 12 days ago. So that's problem number 1 for me in terms of, and then you turn their schedule right away in 3 weeks. They got to go. I do think there's an element of being consistent through the course of the season. I think they're going to battle more with the Villas and Newcastles, maybe United, for that 4th spot than they are at the top 3. I think there is a separation. So why is Arsenal in your pick at 3 versus 2? Arsenal's been the best defensive team the last 2 years in the league. Clearly, I'm a Gooner, so I'm asking with a complete bias right now. I think they have had the solidity and they have a lot of the same pieces and have added. Whereas City's, the City is City, but they got a lot of changes they've gone through.
And I think it is my belief in the 2 teams above them more than it is anything against Arsenal. I think Arsenal have bought really well. I think, Gyökeres is kind of the complete piece on which this season hinges. Yeah. He has an incredible record in Portugal. He has an incredible record for Sporting Club. He had a great record for Coventry City. But if he's going to be the one that elevates this team, I think he's got to prove it. I think before I say Arsenal are ready to go win the league, I think he's got to prove himself as a Premier League, and not just Premier League, but top-level club level striker that can go and score 15, 20 goals and look comfortable in the shirt, look comfortable in this team. And I think the Madueke piece is interesting. I think in the overall, they have to improve creatively enough to where I think that they can go and do it. So this is a great team. And we were talking during the commercial break, I wonder if we're getting to the point where with the way that these teams are spending at the top 4 of the Premier League, that if the top 5 teams in Europe, 3 or 4 of them might be in the Premier League because of how much money they're spending, how good these squads are. So I don't think it's anything negative that I'm saying that Arsenal are not top 2 or top 1, but I think they're going to have a really difficult challenge. I think for the moment, I'm comfortable picking them 3rd.
Okay. We only got a minute and a half left, so I need to get why Liverpool over City as the team. Repeat teams.
Liverpool, I think just based off of what they did last season, the model that they have, and what they're doing in the transfer market. I mean, Florian Wirtz, Ekitike, they might be in for Isak. The 2 fullbacks have come in. I think they will be ready to hit the ground running. I think Manchester City will have to still figure some things out. I'm still not certain that they've solved the center back issue. They're going to go for a goalkeeper, it looks like, in James Trafford coming in from Burnley. So I think if they can maybe attack that goalkeeping issue, that certainly was a problem. It has been a problem over these last 18 months for City. But I just think that City are going to go back to being a really fun, creative, enterprising team. I think they've kind of torqued towards being good in counterattack defense rather than be exciting and expressive. So I'm a believer in Tijani Reinders. I'm a believer in that midfield and all the attacking pieces that they have. So I think City are going to be right there contending. Rodri is back, which is a huge part of that as well. But I just think that Liverpool, they're already a strong team and they've gotten even better. So I think it's hard to pick against them right now.
Real quick, has Man City lost, though, that aura? They seemed invincible for a while. They lost that.
Maybe. And maybe Guardiola has never done this before, being this long in a football club. But I think that they will regain that. I think they'll have some 5 or 6 nils against some of the bottom half teams in the early part of the season, and maybe that fear factor will return to the Etihad.